Hello. Let's check all this stuff. That's my light tone. Let's see what we got. Might not actually need the wet palette. Metallics on there look pretty gnarly. Anywho. Sure, all my stuff's hooked up. There we go. All right. So here is where we are at so far. Color scheme is like a very dry bone sort of thing. And then Caliban green. And then my front dozer plate. I've got a lot of magnesium and a bit of light bronze highlighting that, which I've worked into the vehicles primarily so far. I think I'm going to do the metallics on all of these guys. Basically just work on my infantry, and then after that, all I should really have to do is tiny details like bones, spikes, tentacles, I don't know, whatever else has color on it, flesh, and then it should be good to go. Set that aside there, grab a new paper towel. I do have some metallics medium. I should probably try. Thin this stuff out. I might not use the wet palette at all. I just might not. These guys are a little bit abused. Where? Ah, there it is. There it is. My trusty super multicolored silicone cuppy thing. And we will get down to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit a bunch of these with magnesium, which is from Pro Acryl. It's really nice. It's got a very interesting hue to it. Very nice. Instead of thinning it with water, I'm going to use metallic medium. The other thing I've done with all these models is give them a thin, black, barely tan wash, which was actually just cooked up in a little squeezy bottle. It's some Lamian medium, some actual bucket wash, and a bit of light tone. Hey, what's up, guys? How are you? Several of those things are completed. Others still going. Those things? Sorry, I'm absolutely high as a kite on cold medicine right now. So I'm not sure what you're referring to right now, Badger. But I wouldn't feel terrible if I had to put these lads on the table. They look pretty. I got off of that stream earlier, and oh yeah, it's just like clear shiny. Went immediately to nap time. Did not pass go. Did not collect $200. I'm like burning the candle at both ends to operate. Grab a little stick to stir this with rather than a brush. This will hopefully keep me from drying out too much in the cup. It should keep the pigmentation color. I wonder if you could just add metallic medium to any color and make it Metallica. I need to refill my isopropyl. Hey, what's up, Joe? How you doing, buddy? Well, if you streamed today, you got stuff done. Got to hear about Votan getting included as NPCs in a video game. That's so dirty. Oh, chores and things? Well, you know, some days are better than others. Like, I did get work done today, but a huge chunk of that was work stream, which I guess is still work, but feels less like it. Let's see where my outflow is going to go here. Ripped. So this stuff is coming along. I got to use some Caliban green, which makes me happy. Got a nice dozer plate. Green pride. All right. Nothing to do but start. Yeah, Caliban green, in fact. Zoop. These are your new Terminators. A little bit of green on them. I missed the spot. Actually, no, I didn't. That's all guts. That's not a... Basically like loincloths and sometimes one pauldron. Yeah, you live in that stuff. Faux show. Grab a tiny dab of water for this. Just put a couple little drops in. Cable high. How's it going? So I don't know if you can hear from my schnoz, but I am pretty under the weather. I wanted to stream the last couple nights, and it just like was not coming together. I'm hoping with a near 3-hour nap, I can actually go over this whole thing because I'm going to do the spiky bits, lighter color over it. I'm hoping with a 3-hour nap, I've got some gas in the tank, but I've just been exhausted. I got a head cold, cross-pollinated with a bunch of friends who have kids in early grade school over the weekend. This is the price we are paying for it. Happily so, though. It was a good time. Lots of folks over for a barbecue. Greek themed. I made a pretty darn delicious leg of lamb. To be confused with leg of loss. Yeah, I am such a beacon for illness. My 4-year-old is in preschool, and my 2 almost 3-year-old touches everything. I think those are going to be maybe brass. Who knows? Let's see how this looks. Is that too thin? Did I over thin it? Maybe I did. Maybe we're learning about how this works. It's real thin. So I pretty routinely just get worked over with head colds. This one's not terrible. Like, it's been a little bit exhausting, but no fever, which is fantastic. Not too throaty. Oh, yeah, I'm laying it on that thick. That's like, I think that's too thin. I may have thinned it out too much. I'm going to dab this thing with something to soak up the excess. Oh yeah, I'll be fine. Just a little bit exhaustipated. Hopefully that just took, who knows what, out of the paint. I have this other color, dark silver. I'm going to try to use on some of them guns and stuff like that. We'll see how this all plays out. There's a lot of very, very, between this like worn out bone tan and this metallic I'm using, there's not a lot of range color wise. Kind of like. I should be using a handle. Why does this feel so awkward in my hands? Well, put it on a handle. Oh, so much better. This little section down here. Oh my God, it's like practically the same color. I think I overthinned it. Well, we'll let the air in the room do its thing. Dry this out. So for pipes and chains, I'll use that dark silver. For trim and weapons, we'll use magnesium. We'll highlight some of that with light brass, I think. I can already tell I'm gonna like miss all kinds of stuff tonight because my head's just not in the game. It's cool though. Having fun. Yeah, I'll persist. I've gotten so used to acquiring a menagerie of viruses for my kids that it doesn't bother me too much. I just like to stay productive when I can. It definitely puts a tilt on that. But I've absolutely slept more in the last couple days than I have in a long time. Like tonight, after the afternoon work stream, I just like went straight. I was like, turned it off, go nap. It was a good one. 3-hour nap. Like, slept through dinner, all that hullabaloo. Woke up when my littles were going to bed. I guess I needed it. It's probably not a bad thing that this is thin. Probably not bad at all. Got a lot of natural highlighting going on. And we're going to come back with, yes, Nuggles blessings be upon you. I'm wearing my appropriate emotional support nerdling shirt. In it to win it. You're just going to be a little nasally for a while. That's all. Nothing wrong with that. Actually want to hit the back of that boot? I don't. The erase button. Also got to remind myself this stuff looks a lot different when it dries. Speaking of Votan, me and Will still haven't hammered out exactly for the pun. These are Plague Marines and Terminators. Haven't hammered out when the next Warhammer game's going to be yet. I'm hoping maybe next Friday. Try to get some revenge using my Death Guard. So yeah, it's Plague Marines, 7 Plague Marines, 7 Blight Lord Terminators, thick boys. And also, maybe I should start with this guy, the Lord of Poxes. Dapper in all that green. He's a fashion plate. All right, outside of the blade, all this mechanical stuff we'll just do in a pass of magnesium. Light bronze it later. I wonder where this guy got this weapon. It's like a piece of a ship. Sharpened up. Ready to rock. They are and they aren't. I have what I hope is kind of like an affinity for it. They keep me on my toes. It is a very different process than churning out a large or whatever similar sized army of like it's like the opposite of Ultramarines. Like Ultramarines, they look good in armies because they all look uniform. And Death Guard all have a lot of Chaos units are like this. I don't think any of that is actually bronze. Maybe the bottom of it. Most Chaos Marines like have some amount of more deliberate flair to them. So you're painting a lot of different stuff, and then there's also the fact that like if you look at this guy up close, grab something else to point with that isn't a brush. So yeah, he's got armor, but then there's like wood in his weapon. His pauldrons have real demonic stuff on them. His gut is teeth with a tongue. That's a weird horn sticking out of there. There's fangs. Strangely enough, I don't think that that's actually a purity seal. I think that's just like the wrap from there. Big old tongue sticking out. There's glop dripping out of these things. Open sores, stuff like that. You have a lot of different things that are going to grab your attention and that all need paint. So you end up jumping around a little bit here and there. But I find that like helps keep my attention while I'm working. And I don't require, this is like absolute 100% truth. I don't require as much precision to make these look pretty good as I might if I was doing Ultramarines, Salamanders, Fists, because there's a lot of like organic transitions that you kind of use in your own favor to make the model look cool. It's not better or worse. It's just different. But I don't think they're all that hard. I think it's just practice. I think I could probably learn to paint loyalist stuff pretty clean. But I just get a kick out of weird tentacles sticking out of weird spots. This is my jam. I should lean forward a little more, fix my posture, maybe get this in the shot. But like anything, it's like the effort that you put in. It definitely shows. So if you like spikes, tentacles, weird crap, you paint spikes, tentacles, weird crap, you do all right. So in a case of like this icon with the 3 skulls, like I'm just gonna do the whole thing in magnesium, and then I'll come back and I'll hit each skull separately with the light bronze, like you can see on that, so that the skulls pop out. I think most of painting 40K stuff is like, once you've got experience with a faction, no surprise, it just gets easier and easier to paint them. You get used to the tricks, you build them better, which I think not enough people account for. Yeah, they do look overwhelming. You just keep passing them around, keep adding stuff to them. At the same time, like, I would be scared to death of, like, I mean, not even talking like named characters like Booty, but like the idea of how much like gold trim and making, you know, purity seals look really good, and, you know, like edge highlighting a bunch of really clean stuff. Like, I'm not edge highlighting this tank. I mean, get some from some dry brushing, but I'm trying to make this thing look like beat up and destitute. But I'm also pretty comfortable with, like, very comfortable with rust, making things look oily. All the beat 'em up, grimy special effects, kind of my jam. Question is, do I do that whole knee pad? I doubt it. God, this guy's big enough so that the bolts on his armor are actually, you can tap them without hitting the rest of the shtick. I think it's because they have such distinct materials. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, like right now, like 100%, I'm just gonna, like, metallics are true of everything, but like I'm gonna go through this, but then similar to metallics, I'm gonna have a phase where I'm like, oh, let me go through this entire crew of guys, find all the little tentacles, do those all, you know, the same treatment, which may be like 2 or 3 different things, maybe just one. Some of the demon engines have skin on it. The skin on all these is going to be similar, and so you're just like, you're doing a lot more passes. But I personally don't go back and like I was saying before, like edge highlight a ton or any of that. Just these metallics will do a bit of it, just to get some shine on the edges in some places, but it's not the same thing. It's a truly like clean approach to a model. And Moth like paints his Death Guard way crisper than mine, which is awesome. They do look good, even if you don't like paint messy like I do. You have some pretty good Death Guard executive. In fact, these guys, like, kind of something I'm trying out here. Like, I'm not actually messing these guys up all that much. Normally, it's like a weird OnlyFans party where I'm just like, all the grime, throw it all around, everybody gets something. These guys, I'm just kind of chilling out, trying to get some classy weathered look. The commandos are special. The commandos are very special. Exception that tests the rule. I think that's part of the reason I like the commandos as well. It's just, they have like all these awesome toys. It's really nice to get to there's the dude with the breaching hammer. Everybody's got specialty weapons on. I mean, there's a couple guys that are just grunty, but even those guys have just crazy details. Put 6 knives on one guy just because I could, because he's a commando. Commandos were tight. But the second unit of commandos that I did all just like handgun, whatever they are, shooters. No, just like no special weapons on, with the exception of the hammer guy, because I had to have him. But she was like, "All right, I want one that's a little simpler," and I just wanted to do the other sculpts. Question is, which metallic am I going to use up here? It's more utilitarian. Yeah, tiger stripes on their clothes. I know, you're an animal. That was wild. Great choice, though. Super cool. Oh, yeah, I'm a little sloppy here. That's the not antihistamines. That's a cold medicine talking right now. Ooh. A little slippy, a little shaky. Clean this brush up a little bit. This poor guy. This poor brush, man. Hey, Dennis. I'll also warn you guys, there's a non-zero chance that I lose power tonight. A pretty thorough storm coming through. But all in all, these guys are going relatively fast. I mean, it's a whole battle force. And like short of basing material, like they're like near technically, baseline battle ready. They're not like up to snuff, to personal standard, but they're past the. I put them on the table feeling weird. I'd put them on the table. I guess that's what I mean. All right. Oh, the sword. The sword. Big plate up there, too. All right. I can't wait to put these guys on the table. Cannot wait. All right, I'm going to clean this brush a little bit, bust out a second color. I think what I'm going to do for a little bit is just sit on this one dude and just work on it, work him up. So I think it's going to tell me a little bit more about what I want to do on the details of the rest of them, because this guy's just like laden with good BS. That's relatively focused. This guy's got so very much going on that I can roll with him for a bit. Roll and learn. Speaking of boards, what kind of playing field do you use in your games? Official ones from GW. I splurged and bought a big ass heavy duty table. Um, that's not a sitting table; it's a work table from Uline actually, which you see all kinds of like office and manufacturing equipment come from. And it's big enough; it's sized right, where it has a battle mat that is from Frontline Gaming. They do like precise Warhammer sized ones that have some thematic mumbo jumbo on them. So that just sits on there. I've had nothing but success with their playmats, and so I basically just like got that big table. I actually taped out like where the borders were, so it's easy to put the mat down whenever you need to. I think one of the things I'm gonna do is drill a nubbin into the actual direct center of the tabletop. Um, yeah, there's another vote of confidence for FLG mats. Just so that you could always tell where the exact center of the board is. So just running your finger over it, because a lot of times you just have boop, you're measuring off of that. It's a little faster. Me and Will are pretty darn slow at setup. That said, in terms of terrain, it's a mix of things. I got a really good set. Actually, Badger tipped me off to it. There's this company, Pegasus Hobbies, that has a very good Gothic church architecture model set. And I put a bunch of that together. I got to do a bit more. I think I want to actually do something for like the side of the battlefield that like has a crazy amount of elevation to it. So I've got that for smaller games, or when I just want to mix something in. The Octarius set from Games Workshop. That Kill Team has the big boy box, has like, which is where I got the Commandos the first time, has really, really good terrain in it. Very good, like Mad Maxy looking, you know, oil derricks and scaffolding and whatever. That one's fun. It's not a lot of big terrain, but some of it's interlocking, which is kind of neat. Like there's pieces that are like, you know, let's go to this camera, like yay big each, that are like those sort of like 4x8 little ruins, and then but they actually like click together if you wanted to make it boxy. I do need to put more terrain together. I still feel like we're a little terrain light when we play. And then just over time, I think it's always good to just continue to just grow within reason your repertoire of terrain stuff. Um, you know, Badger and Moth last month, like, we're on a quest to do boarding actions terrain. Well, you know, a lot of that stuff can be used in a standard game. I mean, even if it's like, you know, 4 long hallways, some doors on. I gotta actually crack this thing open. You know, if you have a piece of plastic card, you can take a few of those pieces and just blue tack them down, make a piece of terrain out of it that looks kind of neat. My first game was actually on a D&D terrain board that my buddy Will made. It was all like handcrafted stuff, and was a lot of soda cans and tea boxes. And I felt, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little bad. Felt a little bad playing on that the whole time. Sort of messed with suspension of disbelief. And the tea boxes were so light that they kept getting knocked over. This I like. This is Pro Krill's Dark Silver. Still got a lot of sheen to it, but then decent darkness as well. yeah, it's thick. Way too thick, buddy. Thin it out. One of the things that's entirely appropriate, and I definitely, this is a byproduct of my painting houses days, is like, you obviously want to thin your paints a bit, but I think the important thing is, like, if it's on there a bit thick, you can always just keep moving it around. If you're painting a wall, like, you just dip the thing in, do one, like, broad stroke that gets a bunch of paint onto the wall, and then just run a roller over it in every direction. And I think people that end up with over thick paint just, like, dip in, glop and color it, and don't come back. All right, we're going to give this boy a little bit of medium as I work it in there, but especially for metallics, like, part of the reason dry brushing with metallics looks like brushed steel is that, like, yeah, some of the other stuff is showing through, but I think the brushstroke direction actually matters a lot. I think you're basically lining up all those particles, those shiny bits in there. It makes a difference. Like, this is a tube, so, like, the last step I'm doing, even though it's painted, just going over it again, radially around it. Could all be in my head. It's possible, but I don't think it is. One tiny drop, sparingly this time. That's better. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm raring to go to just get new detachments on the board, rocking. I don't know what to do. I'm like now in the possession of like not a full kit, but like enough vehicles where I could play the vehicle heavy detachment, just send mortars all over the place. Hey, what's up, Sectrix? Good to see you, my boy. Like, I don't know if I'm actually going to add any rust to any of these guys. Maybe in a couple little spots, like the guy's blade kind of begs for it. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep these guys kind of Death Guard executive. I mean, at this point, I have 2 Plague Burst Crawlers, 3 Blight Drones, and 2 Blight Haulers. Like, good gravy. Just put like more Terran and vehicles out there. Everything's just a big target. All right, I think I'm gonna switch it up with like the metal banding that is across this. Go back into magnesium. It is true though now, especially with the toughness updates. I'm very excited to waltz these guys forward into gunfire and have at least some of them survive now. Hey, what's up, Mew? Is that a strap? It's a strap. Don't touch the strap. Painted cloth with metallic. I do expect to make several, like, livable mistakes on this model. There's only pseudoephedrine and Afrin you can ingest, keep breathing, and not have poor judgment and the shakes. I think it's awesome that one of these three circular discs in this icon here is just like missing. The store called me yesterday and said someone left something for me. Oh, curious. Someone left something for you? Yeah. Hoping with this dark magnesium when I come back around it, hit the edges with light bronze and be like in good territory. Bottom of this back boot doesn't have trim on it. Curious. Curious. This guy that I helped getting started painting by basically buying him the basic starter thing when he wandered into last year, came in, bought Titus, and asked them to give it to me. Aww, that's pretty sweet. That is very sweet. And like it's not horribly shocking based on, you know, my assessment of people that I've met in this hobby. And not everyone's cool, but like walking someone into this hobby is like a genuine gift. That's awesome. So how did they know it was you he was talking about? But they're like, this guy, like, I don't know this guy's name, but he's amazingly handsome. He's like 7 feet tall and all ripped with muscle and has like a beautifully rich voice and a winning smile. And they're like, oh, that's him. Oh, that's your story's not as good as mine, man. Missed opportunity to ham it up. So some of this guy's piping is like covered in fabric. It's kind of a neat, interesting. He's like very tubey. Tubey, tubey. Well, good on you, Sectrix. That's like they say no good deed goes unpunished, but I strongly believe in a non-mystical way that like you put good stuff out to the world. Sometimes it finds its way back. It's not the motivation for it, but I've been pretty lucky, and I tend to attribute that to the fact that I try to treat people as best I can, be generous when I can, be good to the people around me. Hopefully, helps people out. All right. Question is, all right. So not unlike that plate fastener up there, we'll do this in mag slesium and the actual gas mask pieces in dark silver. What's up, Mew? I bet you the owner does think you're handsome. You are handsome. I've seen you in real life. You're a good looking dude. Yeah, it's 100% like it is not all gems, but it can be, especially when you get sort of banged up a little bit. You like either meet or work with some people that aren't cool, or like you go play a tournament and just go up against someone who's like cheating like crazy. Like it's like winning a local game is like the most important life affirming thing of all time. Like there are absolutely bad situations. Um, I wash my hair in streaking grime, but at least you wash it. You got to remember, I think the average person that's into this hobby that isn't trying to leverage, I mean, this is 100% what it comes down to. There's a lot of people in this hobby that are purely trying to leverage it into something else. And then there's a bunch of people that like get genuine joy out of it. And I don't find it that hard um, to distinguish. And I don't think it's purely like if someone's trying to make a living at this, I think plenty of people that are trying to make a living at it are doing it because they genuinely love the thing. But you can often tell when someone's just like spitting out cheap content. Sounds like the guy bringing a Baneblade and Jin Seer to a 1K Crusade game. That just sounds like crazy fun. That's wild. That's when you need the orcish anti-tank crew. What does a Baneblade cost? His opponent in game one me. If you went back, I mean, well, so there's especially against salamanders, that's like a brutal mismatch because they're so anti-infantry, but like depending on who you're going with, you might be able to outwork them. Yeah, and then you have people that bring joy to others. That's like exactly it. It's like you just gotta find the good folks. It's that easy. Exactly, Mew. Just like cheer people up, have a good time. Right, I'm gonna hit this whole blade now. Dark silver. Should I thin it? Should I thin it? Let's thin it a little bit. Thinned it a lot. Now it's going to be a little tough to work with, but thankfully that strap is really high up. Yeah, I thinned it too much. Way too much. That's all right. We're in good shape. What the heck was that? Hey! Who's this Night Auditor guy? Thanks, bud. Sweet. Thank you very much, buddy. What a year it has been. What a year it has been. I gotta pick some of this back up. I have a repulsor with an AB 6-man Eradicators, Gladiator Lancer, and a JPI squad to surgical deep strike. Yeah. And the thing is, like, no matter what, you eventually get to a point where, like, some armies are built to take on other armies or have strengths in one place or another, but, like, any Space Marine build does potentially have tools. Like, it gets a little flaky the more you get into, like, chaos. But even then, like, in a lot of cases with something big in the way, you just gotta force it to roll a lot. Like the old adage of like, how do you get rid of Terminators, las guns? It's like you just need to force the person to just roll and roll and roll. like for cost, the Baneblade, like, I mean, I obviously have to look up exactly what its weapons do, but like, man, just sick like 8 million Poxwalkers on that thing and just leave it stuck. Let it just sit there chewing through absolutely worthless chaff, also known as the backbone of the Death Guard army, the unsung heroes. I feel pretty confident that I will destroy it on turn 3. I like the sound of that. It's like name that tune. I can name that tune in 4 notes. I do kind of, though, more than a little bit, respect a little someone showing up with a Baneblade, because it's just like, it's kind of like a neat, if it was a video game, it's like a boss fight. Every time you face that person, it's a boss fight. Wahapedia Baneblade. I really do want a Baneblade. Someday. Wait a second. Stop the presses? You can use a Baneblade with Gene Stealer cults? Am I reading this properly? I'm a firm believer in the old Bob Ross adage: painting should be fun, it should make you happy. Yeah, that's when you're truly an artist. Like, I utmost respect for people that are like crazy good and like honing their crafts. For me, that's like video game making is my thing that I go nuts over. This is like absolutely just relaxation, have a good time, try to improve constantly. Like I certainly am not lazy about it, but it's cool. Glitter man. Yours is better than mine. Yours is absolutely. That's why I want to go back and paint it again. That dude, that was like super early, super duper early in the auto painting career, man. I look back at that and be like, man, I just didn't know any better in a good way. I should have been terrified to do that model. Oh yeah. I started out on YouTube. I'm actually pretty sentimental about it. I started out on YouTube, I think almost exactly 2 years ago. I think. And I was doing edited videos to start. And I basically like cataloged the start of the old Warhammer journey. Like the first video that I did was like, hey, here's how I got started. Here's why I'm picking Death Guard. And then I got so much into Death Guard that I did some like lore video crap on the Lords of Silence. And then I did that for like a few other books that were kind of neat. Um, and like it was just so time consuming doing editing and like essentially script writing. It's very fulfilling. It's a very different thing than streaming because like you cook something up and then you put it out there and then it accumulates over time. Whereas like streaming, it's like people, um, you like I'm trying to catch everyone in the moment that I'm doing stuff. It's just a different vibe to it and a different satisfaction. But like there, I still get daily views on my old Death Guard lore crap. But if you look up like 0-40K on YouTube, that's me. And then I started streaming over there briefly. I was like, how about this? And then I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, like Twitch is just seems like it's patently better for streaming. And then I moved over, and now I now that I can get it to work, I multi-streamed this stuff back over to my YouTube channel too, so it's archived somewhere. And to sort of try to resurrect that channel, but I actually did pretty good. I had some like video game videos over there. Unreal Epic Battle Simulator that I queued up some pretty awesome mod fights. And like got myself, at one point I was up to like 7,000 followers over there. AK deep washes and the dual exo paints. I don't even know what that means. Is this some like Tau technology thing? Deep washes are just no staining because they stay wet for so long? Huh. So the deep wash is like very much just like I put it on and it finds every 60 milliliters. A bit more tough. Undercoat for airbrush. That makes good sense. The skulls thing today, I'm always excited for Rahul because he's just awesome. Oh, it's housing paint. I love it. I watched it with Moth. I was excited to see Votan, excuse me, make an appearance. Though they'll apparently be NPCs. I'm still hopeful. I think the remasters are a smart thing to do right now. Kind of cool. As far as Space Marine 1 goes, I actually picked it up in preparation for Space Marine 2 and it didn't run on my machine. And so that, like, can we're rich? Excuse me. It's good to see you, Grant. So I'm excited for them to do like a remaster that might actually like run on my machine, which would be good. I think it's a very good time for remasters, and I'm not surprised at all. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. I think the Arbites class is pretty interesting. Judge Dredd with dog seems like it's fun. But all in all, like, it was all right. There's nothing like, I'm not gonna like diss on it, but Total War 40K or a new Dawn of War is like kind of what I'm hoping for at some point. Yeah. As I look up, yeah, I wanted to see Total War 40K. Like, I want to see like drop pods falling from the sky. I want to, Rodigus walking across a big open plain under bolter fire. Grout, they need to pull the kin in. I think they're just they're biding their time. I mean, there's a thing with like I always wonder about assets, digital assets, for 40K games because like, do they like break the seal by someone doing it, and then like does Games Workshop have the rights to the actual raw assets? It's very much dependent on how the contract is set up. But like I think part of the reason you see the same factions come up over and again is just like, okay, they know who's popular or not. Hopefully they're doing some amount of research, but part of it is probably because like we kind of reuse some stuff. And I wonder with like breaking the seal on Votan if that like opens up some future possibilities. I don't know. I might be overthinking it. But like the moment you get your hands on like decent squat digital models, like if your Games Workshop is that, I guess what I'm asking is I wonder what Games Workshop gives to developers if anything at all, when they're making a digital game based on a GWIP. Like you absolutely can, like a game artist can absolutely just like take models and concept art and totally just go nuts and make the digital assets. But I wonder if Games Workshop is just like, here's the actual sculpt files, which would be kind of neat, or some version of them. It would be helpful. I doubt they're very helpful. I want to melt space wolves in a microwave while Dork Depot is tied to a pole and has to watch. To each their own. I feel like you guys are coming up soon. I feel like that, like, when they show like the transmission picture, like that definitely seemed like it could be like Votan antenna. Still find it weird that all kin have communication backpacks and Mechanicus do. Why do you find that weird? Oh, I would definitely bet that they're strict on what gets allowed to be made. I just wonder how much they actually provide to keep things like looking super in IP in terms of scaling and stuff like that. But no, I guarantee, and with good reason, that they're exceedingly strict with how you use their IPs. This guy may be all metallicized up. Maybe. These for now. I'll find some other stuff in it. It's true, but in the context of that story, they're sort of interceding somewhere out beyond the pale, and maybe they all need to stay in close communication. They're a solid commando team that does need to be able to scream for Carl over the radio. They might only have like 2 or 3 models for them right now digitally also, and they just like made a scene. It's an oath band. How much time did you spend watching and rewatching that video, Grot? And you're probably going to just tell me that you took one glance at it and everything was painfully clear, because you are pretty deep on your kin lore. Only once. That's all it takes, Grot. What kind of operation do you think this is, Otto? I glanced at it. I would guess that they probably only have a couple assets for them actually built thus far. That would be my inside baseball take on it. This does have metallic on it. It's going to be a little challenging over here, where the face ends, the armor begins. Battle Force and Combat Patrol included should get me to 1500, maybe 2K might be worth buying. Kin would be fun to field. They are fun to fight against. Will's got the Combat Patrol. I got him a Hecton, whatever the thing is, as a retirement gift when he quit his job to to become my business partner. And he proxied in a couple things for, what's their tiny little car? Not tiny, but the one that's annoying and has the big ass gun on it. Anyway, he proxied in a couple of those. They're like little rhino thing. And it was fun to play against. Like getting grudged out is just like a wake up call. As soon as I heard Oathband and the Grimnir saying that they're there for an asset, 100% means that they're to exact a grudge oath. Indeed. Oh, what happened to the mug and dice? Yeah, Sagittor is the thing. I'm putting those on hold for a short period of time. I've been unemployed for a year. I had struggled a lot, not financially, but timing wise, to keep up with a lot of orders. So I'm just pausing them. Just pausing them for a bit. I do deeply enjoy sending stuff out, but I ran out of mugs and I have to print them in a batch. And so that stuff will be back soonish. But I'm also poor. And but streaming is a good gig. Games Workshop is going to kill my local store. They got 1,000 Suns a week early. Oof. Yeah, Hackathon's what I snagged for Will, but the Sagittors are tough, man. I don't know. If, I mean, I don't know what their actual like legit toughness is, but those things have a pretty painful gun on them that I did not like. I disapproved of thoroughly. Yeah, Sagittarius, it's just freaking cool. It's a good thing. So I think Will's gonna pick up a couple of those bad boys. Just put berserks in them or whatever. But the more he picks up, the closer we get to full on game time. But he absolutely schmacked my Chaos Space Marines to oblivion and beyond. He remastered them to oblivion. A very sad day. Yeah, I took a look when I was in the store. Actually, I think to pick up this box, and it's a cool looking model. Like getting to pick the box up and really get like a close look at the box art on it. It's pretty dope. I genuinely, having only painted a few, one combat patrol, I think the Votan aesthetic is pretty sweet. Very like retro Moon Raider. Cool stuff. And they look great on the table. Look absolutely great on the table. And like you get to make so many short jokes because so much terrain is built for like space marine height and maybe like standard Imperial Guard height to see through some of the windows. that and the squats can't. They actually like have some issues with line of sight based on their height. Like 4 reels. Like I'm gonna need to get like my protractor out at some point and be like, can I hide a knight at this edge of the field based on these Votan inside this building with this like lowish window? See if I can make it. So is this real? Here's the big question. Before extra screen. Bam. Close my Steam stuff up. Baneblade, listed under Gene Stealer cults. Is this how I do it? By the way, for some reason, I hear that the World Leaders Battle Forces still exist on shelves. That it wasn't that popular. Yeah, a lot of people griped over it. Brood Brothers thing. Ah. Boom. Well, Brood Brother Auxilia would probably be the kind of detachment that I would want to play a lot. Because I have some Trader Guard and some other things that fit in there. I didn't realize they had access to like so much stuff. Oh, I can do my Krieg up. Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. That's fine. I can get them into 1,000. I can get a Baneblade into 1,000 point game. Might even be like a quarter, to be honest. Oh, Gene Stealer Colts. Oh, thanks, Ad. Blah blah blah. Ambush. Uh oh, that's fine, man. Half your army is sweet. I think boxes with one new thing are just FOMO boxes. For example, the Death Guard was just super utilitarian because either it's amazing start or great blanket edition. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think part of the issue is also that if you are a World Eaters person, there's not that many sculpts out there. Like Death Guard are out in front in terms of having like piles of like solid, unique sculpts, and um, like I bought one of the boxes, which is literally one new guy. But you're absolutely right, Sector. It's like this box, buying it was like one of each of three vehicles that like I didn't need dupes of. Plague Marines are just dope. More Terminators, bigger party. Um, the World Eater box was like, what was it? Like a Demon Prince was like the main thing out in front. Yeah, this guy is amazing. This is totally like Ash Waste's guy. I think this guy somewhat influenced the. You say Ash Wastes like the paint scheme that I'm doing on this entire battle force. Desert Death Guard. Death Guard Fremen. Still have one of the old battle forces. Had two, sold one. The both Death Guard boxes like very very solid. But yeah, to your point, like either a really good starter kit or a really good addition. And very true. If I was flush with money, I would have bought the Combat Patrol. But I mean, people griped about the old Combat Patrol, and it was a very solid cornerstone. Like if you were starting a Death Guard army, 7 Plague Marines, 30 Poxwalkers, Typhus, and a Biologus Putrefier was a very good start. All those people are living in shame now that everyone needs 800 million Poxwalkers. Now that it's cool. And I say I could bring a bunch of vehicles to bear against Will, but how do I avoid bringing Poxwalkers? You know what? Maybe it's just all Poxwalkers and vehicles. Maybe that's how I do it. So I sate my cravings. Yeah, it was about time. Like the meme of zombie horde is like super important and a very very important part of how Death Guard do war. And I think it was also like a very good. I feel like someone in charge started really thinking a bit more about leaning in on like lore appropriateness and then just making that work because they lost cultists. Death Guard don't have cultists anymore. And frankly, like if you read Lords of Silence, if you read the like Gilliman Plague Wars books and stuff, like Death Guard don't really cult up that crazy. They just have poxwalkers. And I think by like leaning in on the lore, then you get like the good feels opening. Like no matter what was in, don't get me wrong, someone would have criticized it. Plenty of people would. But like that initial reaction is the internet age. Like the first hot takes on something new tend to just reverberate like crazy. I'm not saying all people are sheep, but a lot of people take the very first salvo of feedback from something and it becomes gospel and it just echo chambers like crazy. And you tell me that there's a Poxwalker detachment, and before I even know what's in it, I'm already psyched. And I think that played very much into it's a good detachment. Somebody already won a small tournament with it. But I think it like gets you in the good graces to just hear that as a headline to start, and then within a few days you start getting um real analysis on what's leaked. But by that point there's already like some sentiment towards it. Like it's not that I don't care about how things are balanced, but I have to tell you most of the opinions that I read about stuff, a lot of them just aren't grounded. They might end up being right, but they're often not right because of how the person said it in terms of Warhammer rules stuff. A lot of them are right, but like a lot of those early takes are just like just incendiary, and that's about it. To each their own, I guess. Everybody's got to say something, myself included. Unfortunately, that puts, for other factions, a bit of pressure on to get those ones right as well. And I gotta tell you, it's not one person cohesively designing every single Warhammer faction. It just ain't. It's not how any of that work works. Depending on who you got working on your faction at any given time, you're going to get somewhat mixed results. Same exact way with class design in an MMO, kit design in a shooter, or a MOBA. Moth, I think it should be everyone's fallback when GW fumbles. That should be the universal call. Like you start seeing grand tournaments and everyone's playing orcs. Should be the canary in the coal mine as far as how good Games Workshop is doing. And they are hella fun. They're crazy fun. It's like if you can't get it right, at least have a good time. Let's hope that Trench Crusade makes a dent in this and pushes them for quality. I agree with that. I'm a huge believer in competition, and I think it's like Warhammer's biggest problem right now is that it is the only thing. It's part of the reason they like have to hit the ball out of the park with some of the Amazon stuff and whatever, because someone's gonna catch up. Like there's still a lot of issues with quality of other models and breadth of other games, but are they always 240? I wonder if it can't be based on. I mean, obviously the pricing of a battle force is a little complex, but I think maybe this is to your point. Maybe it's just auxiliary. Um, I imagine Games Workshop would have charged 240 for everything a year ago, no matter what. I wouldn't be surprised at that. Like maybe they can charge 210 for this one, so they are. Maybe. Because it doesn't have, I mean, it has the robots in it, but it doesn't have that much, like, absolute crazy newness to it. Sectors, did you watch the part of that video where I was mixing glitter? God, that was terrifying. The typhus video. Not to toot my own horn, but I'd say like once every 6 to 8 months, I'll go back and watch some of my early videos. That said, I'm surprised I haven't used glitter again. Like, I'm pretty sure I could nail that. If I ever get back to Fabius Bile, he's probably going to get glitter. I was like, deep, am I ruining this model moment. Yeah, GW is Monopoly, a rare one. The company itself does not kill its competitors, which is rare for a Monopoly. Yeah, it's like when I look at this model, like I don't see anywhere else where I'm going to get models that I think are this good. And that's not to say that I know about everything that's out there, but to me, 3D printing hasn't caught up just yet. Not because of the quality of 3D printers per se, but the like prosumer sculpting of things is not at the caliber that this is. And there are exceptions to that. Like recently, the model that Moth did just the other day. That was like a really genuinely like, to me, like competitively beautiful sculpt. But there's not a ton out there. And some of that is just the inertia of like Games Workshop being around and having institutional knowledge. And then some of it is that it's not an easy business to get into. Ask the unemployed bum. I am pretty snobbish when it comes down to it, Sectors, and unabashedly so. Conquest is really good. I I still think they are a grade behind Games Workshop stuff. Like, I'm not saying that there aren't things that like compete at all, and it's just an absolute 24/7 blowout. But I don't think that Conquest is quite there yet. And obviously, like this is like opinion. Um, but one of the things you get by being Games Workshop is, um, yeah, the only competition is D&D. It's when you run a studio, like think about how hard it is to get a job making sculpts at a place that operates at the level that GW is at. Like every human being counts in that because there's just not enough jobs out there for it. It is a very niche thing professionally to do, and it's changing and it's growing. But you can imagine, like, if you were going to sculpt stuff, you might want to take a gig at Games Workshop. You can imagine that. Even if you hate Games Workshop with a passion, if it was your career, you might want to spend some time there. You know, in the same way it might look good on your resume if you worked at like Riot Games for a while. If you worked at Blizzard. Um, Blizzard's a very similar case where like they just have an operation at scale that no one else, very few others have. Obviously, they have some degree of competition, but like they have not been threatened um, by an MMO since they came out, like legit threatened. Like World of Warcraft is just like institutional. Warbot Scrimskull floating around on Twitter. Finally found the guy who's selling them, and man, I do the thing so bad. Yeah, that's my point. Is that like the things that are competition are you have to go find them. They're not sitting. Here's why I like. It's not an actual monopoly, but when you go into a store, there is Warhammer stuff and maybe some other stuff. There's not like it's not Pepsi Coke. Even in the case of X-wing, it's like it's a slightly different market, slightly different like customer profile. Um, there's a bunch of people battling for second, and like no consistent clear front runner where it's like, all right, we serve Pepsi here, I'll take it. What's the difference between a Bane blade and a Bane hammer? Tremor cannon. Tremor cannon. Maybe that is the difference. Oh, there's a Bane sword. Yeah. It's a second place war. Bane sword. Wait, cannon? Which one is the most egregious? Like the most absolute. Tremor cannon sounds pretty sweet. Two las cannons, tremor cannon, twin heavy bolter, twin heavy flamers. Which one's the most expensive? That's the question. Bane blade is 480. Bane hammer, I think, was 450. Bane sword, 480. Oh, you mean the Bane sword, which just has armor obliteration? That sounds high. I would want the nerdle one. Oh my gosh, it sounds so good. So, armor obliteration is each time an attack made with this model destroys an enemy model that has deadly demise. They go boom on a 3-up instead of a 6. That's a good rule. That is a fine, fine rule. Boom. Yeah, that is some World of Tanks goodness right there. You know what? I'm gonna go wider on the trim on these. I'm gonna go a bit wider. Yeah, make you shiny. And shiny in this exceedingly dull bronze. Magnesium. Do that. When I do finally cross the threshold and get to pick a new army, it may end up being Gene Stealer cults. Because I can parlay it quick with models I already have. The Bane Blade will be like the icing on the cake. But like right now, probably, I mean, not right now, but I have, I think, 2 kits uh, of Krieg, some Trader Guard to like get started with, and I wouldn't mind a 40k game based on World of Tanks game mechanics. So spotting, yeah, no doubt. Uh, Lord of Violence, kind of a spotter. A little exciting bit. It's kind of a spotter. He plays World of Tanks a lot. Mr. Love, LOV. Two great tastes. It tastes great together, yeah, no doubt. Like I've got stuff that fits the profile. Obviously, I have no actual gene stealers. That'll be a little bit of a test, but now you can't double cross it up, can you? Like you can't also have Xenocreed congregation. Who gets ascension? Who gets bonus Xenocred? I know so little about these guys. I just like big, huge brains. Stealer Colts rules. Blah 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 blah. Save rules. Blood surge. Oh, they don't have a. They don't have. Do they have a bunch of detachments yet? No, they didn't. They didn't get a run through. All right. absolutely nothing says that Gene Stealers couldn't be infected. In fact, you'd think Nurgle would be excessively down with that. Just piggyback a nice slow cooking plague on some cultists that just want to spread out to the stars. Sounds like easy work to me. Get this guy's arm before I forget. Is his hand the same? No. These gauntlets are not the same. It's a little heavy, buddy. Spread some of this magnesium out. Pick a little bit back up. Spread a little back out. Screw it up a little bit for good measure. Fix it. A little bit of this excess off here. Pick some back up. Reuse it elsewhere. There we go. That's much better. A little less heavy. I missed a piece of cloth, I find. I believe that's just Caliban green with some of the wash that I cooked up. Bone and maggots. Ah, there's another little piece of trim to get to. This poor brush. I should wash you. You've been very stalwart, little brush. This is one of my favorite pieces of a sculpt. This guy's whole ankle is just busted open with maggots just flying out of there. So good. This poor dude. He should still have movement 4. Just blort. Some more bolts I can get. Man, I'm going so slow. It's not a race, but I want these guys to hit the table someday. All right, now we'll handle this guy's thoroughly modified Nurgly weapon. I'm gonna wash this brush. Chill for a second. Wash the brush. Give it some isopropyl. Let it mellow out. Just let that soak in just a little bit. Squeegee out a little first. There we go. Yep. Give it a quick soak. Good stuff. Nothing like some caffeine to steady your hand. The temptation to do 1,000-point Gene Stealer's army and have half of that taken up with a Baneblade is pretty high. Not gonna lie. I do like bizarre armies that just bring one mega thing to the table. And like my Knight Tyrant only fits into a 2,000 point army. A Baneblade, oof, wouldn't need that much else. Cook up another 500 points. I'm waiting for the narrative rules that allow the Alliance. Sisters Battle Tau, Mechanicus, Eldari, Orcs, Votan. Insert infected faction here. Yeah, it would be an interesting twist if in some edition or some narrative thing they're just like, here's how you infect X, Y, and Z. Like, use your models, and here's what they get. Talk to my buddy Jeff. He's done a lot of research into tabletop game rules and IP and the law around it. Like how much you can flex on that. Obviously, there's the big debacle with Hasbro Wizards, the D&D rules. He's more plugged into like where things have landed since. It'd be interesting if you could. I wonder if what the limits of publishing supplemental stuff is these days. And yes, I know Games Workshop comes after everyone, but like no matter what at this point, there's probably precedent for where the line actually is. Like one-page rules can exist. They don't charge anything though. Game lore is absolutely protected. So 100%. That is for show. But like the existence of Space Marines is not. Oops, I fell asleep and ruined my sleep schedule. Yeah. I took a nap at 5 and went into OT. Got up, turned the cameras back on, started streaming again. So mechanics can't be protected. If that's the case, then like supplemental rules are just like you can easily language your way around. I mean, essentially wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and be like, hey, here's the save for this unit. Call it whatever you want. I mean, one thing I also consider is like, essentially, I have a game development studio. It's patented, not copyrighted. Ah, look at you, whoa. Thank you. I was like, I'm tempted to develop some sort of physical game at some point. Maybe a bit. It's definitely on my bucket list of things I'd like to do. I don't know what format it would take, but like it's getting easier and easier to get one of those off the ground. And in a lot of cases, more conducive to something like a Kickstarter. If you get the right individuals on board. Yeah, patents are pretty bulletproof in many cases because like it's a very specific because of the specificity of them. That is certainly true. Me trying to understand what parts of this gun are metal versus not is a little complex. All right, well, we're going to go for it. I feel like it might be fun to come up with some sort of minis game that is totally agnostic of the minis that you use and is purely waste. All you need is a kitchen scale and a point buy system. Um, and then you just use whatever you want. Fair, but I'm both an engineer and a pedant. I'll be, amen. Indeed. EA has a patent on Nemesis? You sure? When you say Nemesis mechanic, you mean from what specifically? Don't say Nemesis. I don't think they own Shadows of Mordor, do they? That was a WB Games title. That was a Monolith. I actually went there. I almost crossed up with them. I crossed up, I mean, like, almost got to make a mobile game based off of it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Those, that studio got closed down, got axed. They're really cool cats, really good people, um, very smart people. But yeah, actually, got to go visit them and like talk about potentially collabing on something. And they're a really rad studio, big place. Got to see their like mocap studio, which is like an entire one floor of the whole studio. It was really cool. The It's like pseudo learning, but it's not. Some of the stamps that they get on them uh, are based in the manner in which they died or were defeated or messed with you. So it's not real learning, um, but if you do a bunch of fire attacks to someone and they burn to death, they might come back scarred, burn scarred, and resistant to that thing you leaned on a lot. It is a long set of checklists. It is not like true AI, but it is really cool, and it does emulate. Does emulate that in some interesting sort of ways. It is, but like even simple, decision trees with enough complexity, go into like neural networks. Yeah, it does not learn. It does not learn. The game does not learn from you. The system emulates thematically things that seem like learning. Which is honestly, for a game like that, was more than enough to get the point across. Like the first time you really run into someone that you jacked up completely, leaning on your own skill using specific weapons and specific techniques, and they come back like very much scarred and resistant to it. It feels like they're watching you. Saw a paper yesterday that the structure of AI converges as training increases. Elucidate, expand. Oh yeah, yeah, no, no. It's, I mean, is my biggest like about AI is how incestuous in some cases it is. And right now it's like it's the Wild West. Like everyone and their uncle is trying to do good stuff with AI, and some of it's fantastic, and some of it's not. Um, but like depending on what you feed it, like that's what comes out, and it's supposed to find favorites. I mean, it's the same reason that like I mean tangentially, but like why Facebook kind of like went a little crazy for a while. Probably still is. I'm not there, but the 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 curation of inputs is then it becomes Reddit. The curation of inputs is like very very important in terms of AI growing. And a lot of AIs are just like comb everything and give me the, you know, increase the corpus of data and training duration. Radically different models will converge on their internal structure. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm. But I am very curious to see where like a lot of this shakes out with time because it is tremendously powerful. And I don't actually like I'm not on the side of like, oh my god, the robots are gonna kill us. Um that's not gonna happen in my lifetime. I doubt. I do have to train my daughters to fight robots, but I think that's like a battle for a different age. Actually, I'm gonna hit this whole thing with the exception of the chains in magnesium. Um, but like any new technology, there's going to be a lot of just like misses on it. Like there's just going to be. I think one of the issues is that I think to do great things with AI, you have to be an amazing innovator. And then one of the natural things about AI is it's very tempting to just accept, not for free, but like through the idea of you know massive learning models that like oh this thing has the right answer. And I think what you're going to find over the next 5 years or so is that the front runners are going to be the ones that created AI in a very creative way, and everyone else is going to be like in emulation territory and not understanding why their AI isn't making fruitful outputs. And I think one of the other interesting things right now is that like there's an amazing amount of ego involved in several places in like the AI world, like Zuckerberg announcing like all you got to do is open your wallet. Like I just used that voice because I think that's what he was hoping he sounded like in his own head. Like that's not the kind of thing he would have said 10 years ago. Um, but it lands now for some reason, or at least he thinks it does. And I appreciate the business value of like me not needing assets or really needing to understand my audience. Like that would be nice if I could just offload all of that. But I think the purpose of that statement is to appeal to other people that don't understand their own audience and would want that. Um, like there's an amazingly good market right now in providing stuff to like potential to people who want to stream to actually make money. Like there's a very, very good business in providing tools to streamers to like to get off the ground. Now, there are streamers who make inordinate amounts of money and have all those things. But the vast majority of people who stream are just like spending more money on streaming than they're getting out of it. Like it is not a one way ticket to success. But the business around it is extremely lucrative. You look at companies that sell decent mics in the like $100 to $200 range. You look at if you go on Amazon, they're like the number of ring lights, lighting solutions to stare into a camera and say stuff. Um, it's you should start streaming from your Twitch page, Lambo. Yeah, that business is flying, and I think the same is true of AI right now. Where like some people are coming up with really amazing tools, and some other people, like the Facebook statement, the Zuckerberg statement, read to me like I want to sell ads to someone who doesn't know what they're selling because they think they're going to get rich if they just find something to sell. Yeah, it's it's crazy. And like obviously like I bought a decent mic because I wanted on a Rode arm. I have all this stuff. The amount of money that I've spent on streaming crap um isn't that insane. Like I this isn't like my business. But it's certainly stuff. Um but the amount of money going into production far outstrips like any sort of distributed amount of wealth that people are generating. As a deep and early adopter of AI, I have thoughts on this conversation that probably doesn't fit into either the tone or the platform right now. That's fine. You and I can rap about that stuff offline. I'm not worried about you saying stuff that is contrarian to what I'm saying. And like honestly, you could either be the I agree with that. What I'm talking about more is the whole bevy of people that I don't think know how to make a train that are trying to make a train right now. There are some people out there that know how to make trains, and I think there are some people out there that are trying to sell trains to a bunch of people that don't know how to operate a train. Um, I think it's inevitable that there's going to be some really amazing, innovative work in AI that is going to make it absolutely ubiquitous in the way that a cell phone, like people can't imagine cell phones not existing unless you like are gray in the face. I think AI is going to do that. But I remember when cell phones came out and there was all kinds of chaff in that regard. Early innovation, all I'm saying is that early innovation has some winners and a lot of losers in it, and that's just the phase we are in with AI. Too many keystrokes. I know. That's why you got to just like stream an AI talk, and then you can just talk on the other end. It's so much easier not having to type. Um, it's. I think in the next 5 years, you're going to see some AI things that make you go. Um, I think you can still. I think there's still points to spend. When I'm talking about people that are doing innovative stuff with AI, I'm actually talking about use sectors. I don't have that many like plugins to people doing legit real AI stuff. Um, my point here though is like I don't I don't think that working in AI is some magic bullet to being successful. I think the people that are really good at it are going to come up with some really good things, and I think there's a lot more people that are working on it that aren't. Yeah, and I agree with you, Will. Like, it's I think you're going to run into things like, um, in terms of, I think film is like one of the classic examples here because it's easiest for people to digest. And what's being shown right now is a lot of scenes that are made purely from quotes that are made by people that don't actually have any idea how to make a film, and that reads like films that were made by someone who didn't make a film, just high production value looking. When it's a string of scenes where you're just like, yeah, but like, would I watch 2 hours of this? You know, of all these unrelated camera shots. Now, the tool itself, very powerful. Is it made? Or is it being made right now? Like, what's being shown to us on like Instagram all the time is AI being used by the common person to do exemplary things. And I think AI will get there with that kind of stuff, but I don't find a lot of what common people are doing to be that impressive. There are exceptions to that. I don't think AI is going to turn me into an expert in something. I don't think it's going to turn me into an expert in something. I might be able to put out things that are atomically at expert level, um, but like if I was an accomplished filmmaker and I had those same tools, I would make amazing films and I would make them for a lot cheaper. My dad seems to be convinced I need to be using AI at work. I have to keep telling him it's not a good tool for the things I need to do. I'm just waiting for there to actually be this is I think this is very low hanging fruit. I am waiting for Clippy to be a good assistant. I agree with that, Sectrix, but I think in a lot of cases, like a lot of the tools aren't really that good. In some cases, they are. Um, but like, okay, so let me ask you this though, because I've experimented with this. Like, I have a blog for my little game company. It's like, hey, how about I write a blog post for you? They all suck. Like, they all are legitimately a waste of time relative to me just sitting down and typing. Yes, and that's what I'm saying is that right now there's so many people trying to make so many things that finding an easily accessible front runner. Check that out. Granola AI for stand-ups. I think I think you're picking out an example that I would agree, um, is in a pretty good shape. I've seen several tools that are literally for like summarizing, elevating things in just what is spoken word. I think that's a spot that makes good sense right now. As far as I think there are some good assistant level things, but I think there's an amazing number of things being thrust at me that every time I try them, I'm like, it's not that I'm old and I don't get it. It's that the quality of the output isn't good. I could, I absolutely expect there to be a point at which on my person, the intersection of like Siri, Granola AI, and some decent research tool is going to be what I want. Like the being able to just on the move say some things and get someone else AI-wise to run and track things down and then formulate it in a way that makes sense later, I think that's absolutely going to happen. I'm just boggled why a lot of the tools right now are so hit or miss. And it's true in any technology that you're making. Like, I think we'll see front runners start to emerge. I mean, crap. There was a point at which the Apple versus PC debate didn't exist yet because everyone and their uncle was like making computers. We'll get there, but I mean, there are absolutely like simple things that I think are fantastic. Removing people from the background of images, pretty cool. Not easy to do, at least do well. But yeah, for what I do, don't have. I also just don't have a lot of need for it. But like, if I could myself go in, I think, I think for like having AI analyze someone's voice, as long as you're not stealing it, and like use that for like ADR, so much savings in that. Be careful there, but yes, part of the topic is to pick the right tools. Yep, and also not try to force AI in place that it doesn't give a real advantage. Absolutely, 100%. And so it's early. That's it. Like I think we'll get there. Um, yeah, exactly. Converting to another language, absolutely awesome. Like to be able to localize, fantastic tool. Localization is like amazingly good use of it, and have it still be in your voice with as close as possible. Relatedly, my dad was trying to figure out who'd be the winner for AI in the military, and I told him that his premise for how defense contracts work is incorrect, so he's going to find that. Easy because I don't have to mess with the video and lip sync. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing like, VO work is a pain. Absolutely is a pain. Absolutely should be replicatable. And there's ethics around like stealing someone's voice, but like we steal people's images. And like, I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying we shouldn't do it, but like, it's not like it's brand new just because it's voice. But like localizing things, man, is that just like a huge pain in the butt. I mean, at some point, like depending on how well any of my games do that I make, like I'm gonna have to localize them to some other languages, and that just costs money per word, per language. And I have to tell you, it doesn't always come out all that good, even with human beings doing it. Like I think what's going to be crazy is just being able to have an earbud in, um, and go anywhere in the world and be able to communicate. That to me is pretty cool. Taking notes, managing my calendar, arranging my arranging my food at work, writing updates to tickets, staff feedback aggregations. So that's true, but that's also like respectfully with the exception of whatever that was about food. Okay, so like with the exception of that though, well, no, even including that, those are like I know taking notes is broad. Um but a lot of those are like executive level function things. Like they are all useful to you, and I imagine deeply so. But I don't know that they're like broadly usable to a lot of people. Like, so I guess what I'm saying is that like it is. I think some of the most useful AI stuff out there right now is, when I talk about people that, are like getting into streaming or whatever, like it feels like that. Like I don't know that I need AI to do those things. I'm not sure you need ordering food. I think you do that because it's fun and it's neat. I'm not sure that that's like, oh my god, like I know what back to back to back meetings are, and like people have assistants that order the right food every time in between meetings, and it's always the right food. Like that's not like, oh my god, eureka. Or like anyone else in the office who cares to do it. I had a sinking suspicion that there was a little bit of personal love in there. Like, I think it's cool, but I think some of it is hyper focused on you as a person. And I think what you're playing into is when I say some people are going to innovate, you're doing that to solve a specific thing for yourself. This is not criticism, this is actually praise. So like, hang on tight and keep your ears open. Like, that to me is someone creatively solving an important problem. Now, it's localized a bit. That is not to me someone who's saying, that's not Google saying to me, like, what do you like for lunch? It's a different thing. I think it's great that you did that. That to me is you solving an interesting problem for yourself. That to me is like the creative force. What I want is an AI for give it a data sheet, come up with library parts, schematic symbol, PCB footprint. Yeah. Like being able to walk into a situation and have something analyze something that would take far longer um, to like do the initial analysis by yourself and grab all the stuff that is just like, yeah, we're gonna need this and that. Like, I think what's gonna happen is that some practical applications. I think a plumber's gonna come into your house, gonna point something at the problem he needs to fix. He's gonna know how to fix it, but It's going to cross reference the parts he's got in his van versus where he can get them right now. It's going to book the order. It's going to assist him in whatever sort of like step by step additional stuff needs to happen. The way this works is that in the office, we have people voting on DoorDash plates every day. Then the assistant picks two of them and everyone orders. I never have time to partake, so I needed something that I could train on my taste and will order from the select one time QED. It's good. That to me is interesting. I think I think AI is going to, for a time, be very good at like doing some pretty specific work. I mean, I've had people that like I've designed games with who are pretty good at it try to like sell me on the fact of like I asked ChatGPT this thing and it gave me this design. And I'm like, this is below what an associate could come up with. Like it just typed out some kind of mediocre thoughts very quickly. And that isn't what I need. It depends on the situation. I'm just saying it is not that easy to, and truth be told, sectors like you are obviously beyond the curve of lay people talking about it because you're eyeballs deep in it. Um, but if you say, well, okay, so it's very bad is a fair statement if Sector 2 are correct that this is the first year of the boom, because it's going to take a while for that to permeate out. I think you guys are both correct. Like we may be there, but it is not pervasive. Like if you live and breathe it, you're obviously more plugged in. But I think to consumers at large, um, rather use my brain for algorithmics and not writing syntax. AI can do that for me today and help me. That's 100% true. I do think it's a little weird though. A little weird that creative works still come out like so marginally screwy. Like that threading something longer than like short statements, like short story kind of thing, just like never works out. Oh, AI diagnosis for stuff is like solid. Like there are companies out there that are doing AI stuff for just like you just run your conveyor belt production line and you don't need people to hand look at anything. And I think that is like awesome. MRI analysis, absolutely. Being able to interpret something with a higher degree of success, absolutely. But you know that is it leans on aggregation. I mean, maybe I sound like the emperor, but I'm too deep into this. That's something you have to respect. You are deep into this, and you don't need to stop. I'm going to stop because it's getting late for me. But there's nothing wrong with being passionate and more in the know on elements of this at all. It's important to you. It's important to me too, but I don't think it's as important to me as it is to you. And I don't think it should be. But as I've said, I think we are getting there, and I think that part's inevitable. Um, I do worry about the grillions of people that are going to try to come up with products that they know nothing about and see if they sell, but it's not new. Like that's my main point is that the sort of chaff and garbage that comes out of this, um, it's not like there hasn't always been different layers of quality in what you buy. We're smashing looms again. Basically, people that know not much but are able to chat with a bot to make something simple and get paid. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. It's. I mean, I. I think it's probably going to be my last point. I think that a lot of the use of AI is going to be purely just as an interface. Like when you say you'd rather work on algorithmics than syntax, like the syntax is just an interface. It is the limitation of working with a keyboard and having thumbs. Um, yeah, Google went back to on-site interviews because of AI interview cheating. The fact that you could cheat an interview based on AI is a sign. I don't know that we're just saying that the printing press is the worst work of Satan, but I do think it. I think the statement is poignant. Like there is no way that everybody involved in AI is a good at it, b good intentions or whatever. Like, um, my point is that like right now there's so much static. The signal to noise ratio in terms of AI right now is so poor. Um, that for me it's like not really worth investing much time in. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean that's why I think like it's gonna turn. Um, I mean that said, like even something that does something for you can be a teaching tool. May eventually take my job and fire me so I can go back to painting more regularly. I mean that they say one of the highest marks uh, in managerial status is obviating your own work so that you can either move up or move out. That's how you know you put systems in place that really work is that you become your presence becomes unnecessary. Grot, you may still have to learn to code in a very boring way. But once you do it, it gets very exciting and fun. Yep, has always been my managerial goal to become irrelevant. I mean, that's how I moved up as much as I did. Was I just like put into place systems that meant I could do something bigger or better. 50% of the way there, my wife already says I'm useless. Your wife has a very good sense of humor. Of course, she has to. Now I need my partner to say the same. You'll get there, buddy. Yeah, and I do think that replacing the lower 20% of an industry is a good tool. I think people have to learn new things. I think you're going to find like the industry of like being able to work with a prompt based interface um, to get stuff done is going to. I mean, I guess to Auditor's point, like people were like weirded out by people took typing classes. Like it was exceedingly common. Like I had to take a course in typing when I was in high school. Just typing. They used to teach shorthand in a lot of places if you're going to get like, you know, a previously human AI position. So it's going to be, it'll be a rough transition for a lot of people. But it's going to be neat. Anywho, it's a little past 11:30. I got to bounce. No Sectorix. I'm not rating out. I'm multi-streaming right now, and I'm not dealing with cutting stuff out of the YouTube side or whatever. Um, for the record, as of when Grot graduated high school, we had to take typing class also. Good for you, Grot. That's not how I learned to type, though. But anyhow, folks, it's a good one. We got some italics done. Move the ball forward. Read my empty channel out of giggles. But the joke was that everyone already knew how. Yeah, I learned how to type by playing Muds when I was a little kid. So it was a dead class where we just played games. All right, before I leave, what I will say this, in my typing class, it was typewriters. And a teacher walking around saying JFJ space. There were no games to play. Yeah, it was electric typewriters. Typing on paper. Boomer. My parents are boomers. I know everyone likes to be like, oh, boomer, but like physical clickety clack. Oh my god, those keyboards felt so good though, because they were electric. They had a hum to them. You're pretty sweet. There is something very, very nice about typing on paper. I'm terrible at it because I'm a mess of a typist. But yeah. Gen X. Anyway, folks, y'all are the best. Thanks for hanging with me. Uh it's good to be back. I wanted to stream the last couple days. My head is really stuffed with snot. We'll get these guys done soon, and I don't know. Have fun with AI. Maybe I'll put an AI version of me up that paints things and just collects mad royalty